Well, that's interesting. Why then did they sign Willson Contreras to
only
a
for $80 million.
5-year
Charlie is
contract? No, I'll tell you what. For our guy Kiz Dog, job security, baby. So tomorrow when Kiz is on the show, Cam, we're introducing him as now Cardinals starting catcher.
Yes,
he is.
Andrew Kisner. We could have some fun with that. Now, clearly, he's not going to throw anybody under the bus.
No, he's
but
not.
I do think it'll be interesting to talk with him and just we can ask it in a way, well, what's the Cardinal way of catching or calling a game that apparently right now Willson Contreras is not on is not on that page?
Man, oh,
And also, did you not know that when he caught 700 or so games with the Cubs over 7 seasons? Could you not see any of those things?
nope.
You guys keep me locked in.
Yeah.
Is that a fair question to ask? I understand that coming over, everybody knew Willson Contreras was going to be an offensive catcher. Nobody thought he was this great defensive catcher. But I don't think anybody thought it would be to the point that we're legitimately talking about moving him away from catching 30-some games into year one.
What's Willie saying about that? He's just like, oh, I'll do it.
Well, the interviews I saw Saturday, and this was before the game, he basically said, look, I'm healthy, I can catch. So this is not a health-related issue.
Oh, man.
I mean, as soon as you started seeing the swerves that came out about it, oh, it's an ankle issue. And I was like, no, it's not. It's not.
Can you see it behind the plate?
No, he's fine. He's fine. I'm listening to him. He doesn't look any different than he did any other time.
But can you see him not communicating well with the pitchers?
No, I mean, because how can you know? But I mean, but at the end of the day, I look at it and I'm like, there's something different between one guy being on the plate and the other. The guys are performing different. So for them to come out and say it's an ankle, we got to get him back there, he'll have some time in the outfield. Well, no, we didn't really mean the outfield. No, he's not going to really play that. Or he'll be at DH, where we just sat here last week and we said, if the Cardinals have an all-star, who is it? Well, it's probably Nolan Gorman. So you don't really need a DH. What you need to do is play this $80+ million, and you can't put it behind the plate. So what other options do you have? Once again, there's too many guys in the room. They painted themselves into a corner, and now they've got to mess with things that are even working to try to get back on track.
And if they don't like, which it seems like they don't, if they don't like the way Willson Contreras catches, I believe he's about to turn 31, if that's not a mistake. I think it's very, very soon here he's going to be 31. Is he going to get better as he gets 32, 3, 4, 5? As a catcher, the most demanding physical position on the field for a baseball player? Again, to me, if you were worried about him as a defensive catcher to this extent, you don't sign him. I'm sorry. And now, like, are they going to all of a sudden have confidence in Willson Contreras for the next 2-3 years? Who's your catcher? We love Kiz. Is Kiz your catcher of the future? The Cardinals don't view him as that because they wouldn't have got Willson Contreras.
So what are they seeing in Willson Contreras? And they're like, whoa, we can't have this anymore. Like, do you notice that he's not catching the ball right? Like, what is it?
Okay, so it's not. Now, if you talk about receiving, pitch framing, okay, these things are important, but if you go back to how Flaherty blew up a little bit, not just in the game, but the post game, remember? So his last start, Ben Frederickson asked him about, you have a new catcher, you have a new pitching coach, and Jack Flaherty goes, well, I know you're going with that. And Ben was like, no, these are legitimate questions, by the way.
Yeah, they are.
There have been a ton of two-strike damage. And so I think Cardinals, fans, everybody's like, well, is there something with the pitches you're calling? Because usually when you have 2 strikes, the pitcher is in the advantageous spot. You should put most of those guys away. There have been an alarming amount of 2-strike hits, homers, etc. in recent weeks. So are they saying, look, this is Willson Contreras. He's not on the same page with the pitchers in terms of calling the game. I think everybody expected a transition from Yachty would not be 100% seamless. I don't think anybody thought it would be like this.
And maybe this is speculation too, but you don't really know how a catcher is going to adapt to the pitch clock until you see it. So maybe they didn't think that it would be this bad. Obviously they didn't. But God, you go back and look at like his old plays from like 5-6 years ago with the Cubs. So what happened to him throwing out guys at first? And he still has a good arm.
Oh, he still has a really good arm.
But I don't remember him framing this badly. Like every other day now I see a gif of him getting a pitch that's a strike ends up being a ball because he's not framing it properly.
So you're noticing that. So that's all that stuff tied together. Boy, Benford's taking a beating from guys. He's just asking legit questions.
Right.
They need to calm down a little bit.
I like Ben.
That's
So do
because
I, dude.
the Cardinals are so frustrated right now.
Calm down.
Right. They're in some cases taking it out on the local
boy.
media, which it's not our fault.
Yeah,
It's
did
not
you see Wayno
Benford's
go
fault.
at Denton?
I did see that.
You want to play some of these?
Yeah, I got that one
What do we
right
got?
here.
Hey, wait, you want to get Joe first? I know Joe's been waiting. I want to hear what Joe has to say because I know he's riled up. Joe, what the hell's going on? What's going on? I know they won. I know they won. But come on.
I just want to know, where's the accountability? I'd like to know how these conversations go between Mozeliak and Mr. DeWitt. Hey, Mr. DeWitt, it's Mo. You know that catcher we just gave a 5-year contract to be the heir apparent to Yachty? We're going to make him a DH. Really? I mean, I'm at a loss for words now, guys. I mean, this thing, and the manager, by the way, and first of all, there's a trickle-down effect here. With Contreras being the DH, that means Nolan Gorman's playing time, like Saturday. I was watching the game Saturday. Detroit's got this pitcher that's 1-4 with a 6 ERA, right-handed pitcher. Gorman, who at the time, now Goldschmidt's tied him in home runs. Gorman leads your team in home runs and RBIs, and he doesn't play. Okay, and then the night before, you have your best pitcher on the mound, Jordan Montgomery, right? Gives up 2 runs in the first inning. Next 5 innings, nothing. 89 pitches. You're desperate for a win. You take him out of the game for Jordan Hicks to preserve the lead. And I guess the only one that's not surprised he failed is the manager. Cam, let me ask you a question. A good coach, a good manager does what? You put your people in a position to succeed, not fail, correct? How many times do you want to see Jordan Hicks in key situations fail before you know it doesn't work? To me, here's a solution for me, because I've had it. I'm done.
You're out?
He's out.
Mozeliak is gone. If I'm Mr. DeWitt, I'm on the phone with Jeff Luhnow. I know he got fired for the cheating scandal. Jeff Luhnow got talent here. He got talent for the Astros. Okay? And then I'm firing Marmol and make Stubby Clapp your interim manager for the rest of the year. He's got some managerial experience, and you go from there and you evaluate. But this is ridiculous, guys. The manager makes decisions that make no sense every game, and Mozeliak, I mean, this to me is the final straw with the catcher. I don't know how DeWitt can accept this, guys. I really don't. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right, Big Joe.
I agree.
Fired up, baby. He's
I agree.
fired up.
I agree in terms of,
He's fired
look,
up.
we've all been, I think, fair with Mo. And we talk about Randy Rosarena, and we talk about Sandy Alcantara and Marcelo Ozuna and that trade and all that. I think where if anybody's not really mad about this, I think what you got to think about is this. The way the Cardinals do business is they have a fixed payroll. If they have a bad contract, we've seen this over the years, they don't then spend more to make up for it. What they do is they eat it, and it clogs the roster. Now, in saying that, I think Willson Contreras will be a good offensive player for this contract, for the most part. That's not the point.
No.
You didn't sign him to be a DH.
No.
You didn't sign him to be a corner outfielder. And by the way, you would never sign a about-to-be 31-year-old for that ticket to be a DH or a corner outfielder unless he's freaking Big Poppy, which
Yeah,
he's not.
guys don't typically move from catcher to left field.
Right.
At this point in their life.
By the way, there's nothing wrong. If you want to do a Joe Mauer, that's fine, but that was the plan.
Explain that.
Plant, okay, Joe Mauer was a great catcher and a great hitting catcher.
Yeah.
But he was such a great hitting catcher at one point, they said, we're going to move you off
preserve
catcher to first base. That is not this situation. This wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
They had to change the plan because of performance and results on the field. And my point is, if you go back to a couple really bad deals in the last, 5 to 7 years, Dexter Fowler, Matt Carpenter extension, when they have contracts that are sitting there eating up what is now probably about 1/8 of the payroll, it just sits there and sits there. They don't spend any more money, and it's a hole. And now you're going to spend for another catcher? Okay, that's
we
also
need 6 of them.
That's also $18-19 million. You don't even want this guy to catch right now. You could have allocated that to a starting pitcher. And I'm telling you, like, Nolan Gorman now, less ABs. The outfield now is more cluttered. This guy is not going to get better defensively as he becomes 31, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ken Rosenthal put up a hell of a piece on The Athletic this morning about how this decision happened and where it looked at and just how out of character it was for the Cardinals. And, kind of paraphrasing, he just basically said, hey, listen, Cardinals don't spend in free agency. They tend to acquire guys in trades and then work through it that way. And they didn't have to think about catcher for 20 years. Didn't have to think about it at all. Since it basically was just a job interview. The conversation with Contreras reminded them on what they wanted. He sold himself, and Cardinals got in on buying it. Again, it's an odd place to be in, but when you start looking at, the comments that, Mo said. Mo had the interview with The Athletic this Sunday as well. Said,
what did he say?
Still believes in Contreras as a catcher, but some of the things that we expect, some of the things that in the game that we've become accustomed to, I think you realize it's going to take more preparation. Now the question is, how can that happen? And I guess we'll have to find out.
But this isn't a rookie. That's the thing. This is 7 years. This guy, 7 years with the Cubs. This is his 8th year, over 700 games. By the way, he was in your division. You watched him play against you for probably what? I mean, almost 100 times?
There's anybody you should be familiar with. Cam,
80 times, whatever it was?
Well,
what's up?
But as an ex-pro athlete, how much time do you have during a season to figure things out? You're in the run, you got to get right back out there.
Yeah, I do.
All this stuff comes down this weekend. You got to get right back out there.
I like to take breaks, Matty. I like to tell the coach, listen, I played last week. Let me take a week off. Let me get settled in. I played 3 minutes the other game.
Do you still want for us to pay you this week?
Yeah, you can still pay me, but just I just like to.
I get
what you're saying. Yeah. It's goofy as hell.
It goes back,
and they're getting bashed for it too.
They can go F themselves too.
It goes back.
That was a drop.
Yeah, well, that was.
By the way, Willson Contreras in his career had played 95 games against the St. Louis Cardinals. Only the Brewers, it looks like, more career games. 95 times the Cardinals, up close and personal over the last 7 years, saw Willson Contreras play against them.
If it would have been 100, they would have figured him out.
That's fair.
The thing about it is that when you think about the other option that was on the table, that was Sean Murphy, and what the Cardinals decided not to do, which was to trade the pieces that were asked for, which basically was Newt Barr, Brendan Donovan, one of those high-end pitchers they've got down there. They said, no, we're not trading those guys for him. But now what do you've got? You've got a log jam in both those places.
Okay, so
I'm getting emotional.
As you should. This is tough right now.
I'm getting emotional.
We got 5 catches.
Okay, how about this? So I agree with you. And this is where John Mozeliak and the Cardinals front office, they're paid to make the correct decisions. If you loved Sean Murphy and you felt like the prospect ask was too much, I understand that. But that doesn't mean you sign a guy that you really don't love, if that was the case, because you could have done more of a bridge deal. Christian Vasquez got 3 years, $30 million. That's still a lot of money. But guess what? That's kind of a nice little buffer deal that maybe you can then develop the catcher of the future for year 3 and figure it out. So if you don't love a guy, you don't give him 5 years and $80-90 million. That's where the Cardinals in free agency have really failed in the last 5 to 8 years, whatever it is. It's those kind of mid-level deals for guys that aren't superstars, right? It's the Mike Leakes, it's the Dexter Fowlers, it's the Carp extension at the end there. And so far, it's very early, but it's looking like Willson Contreras. You can even throw Steven Matz in there. $11 million is a lot.
Woo-wee.
Is a lot for a guy that you don't even right now really love putting in the starting rotation.
And so now you've got another deal that, when I look at Contreras could be, he could hit and do everything that you brought him here to do. The main thing you brought him here to do was to up the offensive output behind the plate. If he's not behind the plate, the main thing he came here for is out the window. So now you just got to look at what he's going to bring. And when I look at some of those recent deals, you've got just outright bad ones, like Mike Leake, like Brett Cecil.
He was a good player.
I don't care what he did. Great guy.
Built like a
great guy.
Fire hydrant.
Player. I don't care what he did yesterday. He's got a lot further to go. Steven Matz. So you look at those. Those are the worst open market deals I feel like he made, period. But then you got a deal like Dexter Fowler, who just kind of was in the middle. Eventually he wasn't able to be out there. You had to move him off the position you brought him in for. But that was after a couple of years you got to that point. You're here after 30-something games of Contreras.
It ain't good.
The point that I will make is that, I joke a lot about the fire mo. That's the first place that we go. That's how you prove
That's what Joe wants.
You're entrenched in St. Louis, fire mo. But, this is just criminal inability to manage a roster and then to manage the budget that goes into it. Because the other thing about it, the Cardinals ain't about to be spending a lot of money. Not with that Bally situation, not having bringing money
Jimmy
in, and not those things
okay.
that are out there. Well, I don't think the Cardinals are going to do anything to bring a huge amount of money onto this roster. So it's going to have to get better of what's here, even if the pieces don't make sense.
Good Lord, what is happening in there?
Oh, God.
And by the way, so I put some blame on Willson Contreras. If he's really so ineffective at catcher after 30 games that they feel like they need to move on to Kiz, who we love. But let's not act also like Kiz is going to be Johnny Bench, okay? You've also, I think there's a big scapegoat factor here with Willson Contreras. And look, the guy's paid, but also like you're telling a dude who's in year 8 kind of that you suck as a catcher. Think if you're him.
Well, hey, he should
Dude,
be.
he's getting benched, essentially.
He should be a salesman because Ollie flew down to Florida and sat with him for hours, and he's like, I'm good at everything. Well, there you go.
And by the way, so the Cardinals are a better run organization overall than the Cubs. That being said, it seems like the Cubs played this right. Everybody ripped the Cubs last year. Hey, how are you holding on to this guy? You're not going to get anything in return. And I think other clubs, if you read, didn't love what Willson Contreras was doing defensively. Nobody traded for a really good offensive catcher when there were teams that needed that guy. The Astros go for Christian Vasquez, right, last year. The Cubs end up getting a draft pick, and they started Willson Contreras last year. I think it was 72 games, and from what I read now, they had zero interest. The guy that played and saw him up close and personal for 7 years, the Cubs had zero interest in bringing him back as a catcher, and it looked like they ran him out there essentially to keep his trade value up last year or to have a good draft pick coming in return.
So you're saying he basically became the Tyler O'Neill, Dylan Carlson of the Cubs last year, and that was $86 million worth of investment for this.
You guys all know how hard it is to find catcher, shortstop, center fielder in baseball.
Yep.
If you have a really good one, you usually don't let that guy leave. The Cubs were like, see ya.
See ya. See you later.
Not even a strong offer.
Cole.
Yo.
What the hell you think's going on here, buddy? What would you do?
Well,
Cole Bartemus.
Cole Bartemus.
I wouldn't put Willson Contreras in the outfield. That's definitely what I wouldn't do.
Hire this man.
Yeah.
Hire this man now.
There's my application. I would not put Willson Contreras in the outfield. I wouldn't, solve the problem of the congested outfield by taking a catcher and putting him out there.
Cole, you know what? It's not going to take
Cole,
3.5 hours.
Man.
You're hired.
You are hired.
You're the general manager of the Cardinals now. Go figure this out.
I like that. I'm just confused a little bit because Ollie Marmol emphatically stated that we are not losing games because of Willson Contreras behind the plate. So he said that, and then it's also, he just doesn't really understand what we do around here. We don't do things that way, and he just needs to get caught up to speed. So I'm kind of confused. Is he costing you game? Is his performance behind the plate? Because apparently their issue is something to do with just the chemistry with the pitchers isn't there. And the pitching staff obviously has been a huge problem this season. So, but he clarified it hasn't cost us any games. We're not losing because of him, but also we need to move positions. We need to have Andrew Kisner in the lineup every single day. I'm sorry, I don't really want that. I want him to be good, but I'm not sure that him being in the lineup every single day is great for the team currently. So it just doesn't make sense. It feels like they're contradicting themselves a lot, and I just don't really get it.
Let me ask you something, though.
Yeah.
Like when they say, we don't like the way he does it, he doesn't do it our way. Like what?
I don't know. And that's my question, too, is...
what is that?
More specifically, and I know that they're trying to... Well, I actually have a quote here from John Denton. This is Ollie Marmol and something that he said that Willson Contreras could improve on. He said, I wouldn't say pregame prep as much as that would be a simplification of it. There's real work to be done. The way I would describe it is truly understanding our internal system of executing the game plan for each individual pitcher. So something to do with the chemistry of the pitchers, and I guess they're just more comfortable with someone else?
Is it his fault that Flaherty got lit up like Daddy Padre?
Do you think that the pitchers are going in and saying, look, Ollie, something got to give here? The pitching coach going in saying something? Like, there's more to it than just, we're just going to move this guy off the position a month and 2 weeks into the season.
And look, by the way, Kat has intimated this in recent weeks. If you were listening or reading between the lines, he said many times on the show, the guys, they like throwing to Kiz. Now, I never thought that would mean we're thinking about moving Willson Contreras, but that is without overtly telling you what's going on. If you ask any pitcher, they would prefer to throw to a certain catcher. And by the way, if you ask most pitchers, I bet you they would almost every time sacrifice the offense for how they feel in terms of
care. They're selfish.
Right. No, but I get that. But also it's the fact that the pitcher is the most important person each and every game. So if they feel more comfortable with one catcher, even if they know that guy is deficient offensively, they feel like they have a better chance to win with that catcher.
I was looking for this quote, and I couldn't find it because this was just the one that just blew me away. And again, this is from The Athletic, John Mozeliak. I do think the nuances of the catching side, we haven't had to spend a whole lot of energy thinking about it because of what Yadi did for us. You know that saying sometimes you feel like you had a coach on the field, that was Yadi. That's how we thought. Even though you might have a game plan, Yadi had the ability to allow that to evolve during a game, real-time decision-making. So you didn't have to think about, end quote, you didn't have to think about a position because you had a guy there that just dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's for you. How crazy is it to actually say that? We didn't have to think about really working on this
40
position
years old.
because Yadi was there and did all of it for us.
By the way, that's the ultimate compliment. Somebody else threw this out there on Twitter, and I was thinking about this, and I think it's very, very true. If anybody nationally thought Yadier Molina wasn't either a Hall of Famer or a first ballot Hall of Famer, which everybody in St. Louis already did, let's be real, I think this year only solidifies his campaign as a Hall of Famer. When you see what happens the second he leaves, by the way, when he's 40, when he wasn't even hitting the last couple years, but it's gotten to a point now, Yadi leaves and it's like everything on the pitching, catching half of the game is now in complete disarray. Yeah. 35 games into the transition from Yadi to somewhere else, this team is lost.
Reminds me of Marty leaving Devils. They didn't know what to do. Hard to draft a goalie. Yeah, man, very bizarre. We're going to ask Matty Holiday, by the way, at 9:30, too. He's coming on.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm more than open to sacrificing probably one, maybe two, but preferably not, spots in the lineup to prioritize defense over offense. So if I'm okay if Kisner's the only guy who's in the lineup just to play defense. That I can understand, but it just feels weird because I'm like, Willson Contreras has done this for years. Like, is he not capable of it? It feels like we shouldn't have to have this situation.
I thought Nolan Arenado was the guy that was in the lineup just for defense.
Well, Carlson, but now he's hitting, which is good to see.
He's hitting a little bit.
Okay.
He's hitting a little bit.
Yeah, and now I don't know what's going to happen with the outfield because if you have Contreras at DH, okay, Gorman can't be the DH. He has to play second. Okay, cool. But now Donovan can't play second, so he's got to go to the corner outfield, which currently is good because the outfielders haven't been hitting, but I wonder how
O'Neill hurt?
How is this going to? Yeah, he's on the 10-day IL. So what happens when O'Neill comes back? What happens when you want to bring Jordan Walker back? Now all of a sudden the outfield got even more congested than it was a little bit ago.
Well, so my thing about it is that we're making all this about it right now, but for all the reasons that we're putting this out here, there's going to be no way that Contreras doesn't get back behind the plate at some point before too long. I just don't see any reality where you say he's off of it, he's a DH, we'll move everything else around. For no other reasons than you paid him to be there. This is the very little sense that parts of this roster make. That was one of the things that was supposed to be set. I don't know. I'm going to say at the longest we're talking about, this is a situation we're looking at for 2 weeks.
Okay. Do you think, though, that he'll go back to being what we thought, which I think it's fair to say that he maybe catches 110 games? Or is this going to be a timeshare, that he catches half the games, Kiz catches half, he DHs a little bit? I don't know if he ever plays corner outfield. Also remember, Willson Contreras didn't go to the World Baseball Classic. Remember?
Yeah.
He came in early for this exact reason, to get on the same page with a pitching staff that, oh, by the way, was all gone at the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And here's another part of this. I was not down there. For one, I don't get a credential. We don't need to get into that. But the other thing is, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Did the messaging not change? The Saturday messaging, to me, and I read a lot of tweets. The Saturday messaging seemed like he's a DH outfielder. The Sunday messaging was no, this is temporary. We're going back to catcher. Now maybe that was the plan all along. Maybe you also realize that you're getting absolutely destroyed locally, nationally. And I'm not saying that should factor into their decision-making. Maybe their messaging and explaining it Saturday was not good. Well, I'll give them that benefit of the doubt, but I will not on the move, which, again, I don't think you're overstating this potentially being catastrophic, because if he's not catching a lot of games over the next 5 years, he's clogging spots. They still need a catcher, and they will not spend more money to make up for a mistake. They will sit there, and the mistake will be 1/8 of the roster, and I really believe that hampers the Cardinals from being elite.
Well, and the thing about it is,
no.
Yes, Joe.
It goes directly into a place where you can't trade. It's not like you can move him off either. You already showed what the open market thinks about him. So I mean, it's not like you can say, "Oh, you'll deal it," because then you're saying you're not measuring his production as a catcher anymore. You're measuring it as a utility DH, and that's a whole different thing that people are willing to pay for. I don't know, man. This is quite the job they've got themselves into here.
And also, if anybody's like, well, he's not the problem offensively, we know that. He's been fine. But if the Cardinals would have said our number one priority this offseason was getting a right-handed DH, they have Goldie. They have Arenado. They have Tyler O'Neill. They didn't need right-handed power.
No.
We all said maybe lefty bat. Okay.
Yeah.
They have some lefty options coming in that were more unproven. But to sign a 31-year-old right-handed DH to a 5-year deal, that never would have happened. And that's not the way the Cardinals do business, by the way. Last year, they let Goldie and Arenado both DH about 20 times, which I think is smart because those guys are older. You're taking them off their feet. Give them kind of half day off. They thought Contreras was going to be a DH probably, 25, 30 games, which is fine. Mm-hmm. They probably figured Gorman versus righties, throw in a little Juan Yepes. But now if Contreras even has to DH half the time, that already screws up the plan.
Well, so why the hell did they sign him? What
the whole
did
deal.
Willson Contreras say down in Florida? Were they fishing? Were they drinking down there?
Probably drinking.
Were they having margaritas?
Block dispensary, maybe.
Smoking, drinking, shooting, snorting. What the hell did he say to this organization to get an $87 million contract when there were still questions on him as a catcher? I don't get it.
Booze. What they said is that
I know Florida's a little crazy.
I'll just cost you money, Mo. You don't have to give up.
Is that what it is?
You don't have to get burnt again.
He's a salesman.
Yeah, you don't have to get burnt by trading the wrong guy again, Mo. What you can do is, Jesus. What you can do is just give me the cash, and you can keep all the rest of the guys. And then people won't yell at you for trading a Rosarena again. They won't trade at you for trading Alcantara again. All you got to do is
Did
give
he
up
wheel
cash.
Ollie? Is that what it is? Just wheeled him?
He wheeled
like a wheelbarrow?
He wheeled all four of them.
I think he did. I think he wheeled everybody. Remember,
Did the Cubs send him? Did the Cubs send him as a splinter cell?
Wheeling him around in a wheelbarrow. That's what he did.
And we know he was their second choice. They were in on Murphy.
Yeah.
They thought the ask was too high. But that doesn't mean that you pivot to a guy you don't love for 5 years, $87.5 million.
Well, I'm not sure that they didn't love him at the time. I just think it's more of an indictment on the spring and how they didn't have this figured out already by the time the season started, especially since you mentioned, Charlie, that he didn't go to the World Baseball Classic.
Can I make this point, though?
Maddie would have traded for Sean Murphy, by the way.
Yeah, I would.
I remember you talking about Sean Murphy.
I'd have done it, but don't ask
Murph
me.
dog.
Dan Caesar doesn't even know I'm here. John Mozeliak definitely
Well, he
does.
knows Big Al.
I will say this. Kids dog 2 for 4 yesterday.
A couple doubles.
Drove in and run.
Couple doubles.
I don't know.
Couple doubles.
Take your opportunity.
You got that confidence now, baby.
Take your opportunity and do something with it, baby.
Hey, man.
Just
it
do
is
that.
What it is.
He's up over 200.
There it is,
Hey,
baby.
we got a catcher that's hitting.
I'm happy for him.
We just
All
didn't.
right.
We just paid a different guy to do the job that Kiz is doing.
The text line's blowing up as usual. Let me get to all y'all. 855-282-8255. We're going to say something.
I was just going to ask, how many players do you think have been listed as a DH this season? That Contreras,
For the Cardinals?
Gorman, Arenado,
Everybody.
Donovan. Yeah, and that's the problem. These guys, kind of back to Cole's point, is that none of these guys can get in a rhythm and are staying in one spot defensively. And that's a problem.
Right.
We have a lot of hitters, no guys that are very comfortable.
It's
in their
16
position.
guys that need to play every day. That ain't how it works.
And that's
It's
my
not my
point
softball team.
With
We'll get into that later.
yes, with modern baseball, Big Papi is not walking through that door. Most teams don't pay a Big Papi $20 million to be a DH or $25 million. They like the fact that they can rotate the DH through and keep guys off their feet, especially aging players.
The highest paid DH in baseball was just here this past weekend. The guy that's made as much, if not more money than anybody of all time, Contreras. You know why? Because he's a statue at this point.
No, Cabrera.
Cabrera, yeah. I'm sorry, who did I say?
Contreras.
Sorry, Cabrera. I'm getting mixed up here.
Him too.
But but
he's mixing everybody up, Matty.
that's a good example of what that DH space is. You're not paying guys big money unless it's the only place they've got left to go. The only difference is that Cabrera's my age and Contreras is not.
To be fair, when the Tigers signed that deal, which you can also say maybe not the greatest deal, he's also a legacy player. They probably didn't think he was going to be a DH so quickly.
That's
Miguel
a simp in
Cabrera
Pim's clothing.
Also, he has not aged well.
Yeah. How's Murphy playing? Pizza Wall wants to know.
Fantastic.
Okie dokie.
He'll probably start the All-Star game. I don't know. That's all.
Jobu chimes in. They went from a guy who stole strikes for almost 20 years to a below-average catcher who can't. Patty V.
But below average, I think if you right now, 35 or so games in, would have said, okay, he's slightly below average, nobody would have even cared. I think you would have expected that. Nobody expects. We don't even think he might be a catcher anymore.
So Sean Murphy
in month 2,
282. Sean Murphy's 282, 8 doubles, 9 home runs, 28 RBIs. OPS over 1,000. He's leading the whole major leagues in WAR.
He ain't that good.
So hold on.
He ain't that good.
You're telling me, man, I didn't know it was this good. He leads the league in slug, OPS, and OPS plus.
Whatever.
Wow.
Just numbers, Charlie.
He's turned into Mike Piazza. He's turned into Mike Piazza, but we didn't want to trade Lars and Donovan for him. All right, cool. Good story.
Why don't they just bench Contreras? The Cardinals are always pulling this act where they can't hurt anybody's feelings. Putting him in the outfield creates way more problems. Do this behind the scenes. Bench him and make him work on catching.
Well,
Patty B.
because his bat's good.
Because his bat's good.
Yeah, it's not like
He did get benched.
Yeah, he's getting benched right now.
Yeah.
He's no longer playing. He's just hitting.
Mo does not have enough.
Ooh, that was an anti-DH position there.
Let me tell you something. As somebody back in the day, high school, college, when I was the DH, that's an indictment. It is. It is. You're not really playing. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's easy, but it's not. It's not really playing.
Big prep day.
It's hitting.
You're sitting.
And sitting. It's hitting and sitting.
Mo does not have enough hair on his balls to make a move that would improve this team. He needs to step down. Always a piece of shilt and has no feel of the game. The Cardinals have a dumpster fire, and they're trying to put it out with gasoline. Bone dog.
Ollie's a piece of shilt. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
People want.
What's happening? Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone?
Everyone fired. Everyone fired. Sell the team. Fire Mo. Fire Ollie.
Tear down Ballpark Village.
Tear down BPV. Get a new stadium. Trade every player.
Don't even get a new stadium. Just tear it down.
I do think that this is the worst look, though.
It ain't good.
There's a reason that everybody in the baseball world, everybody, Rosenthal, Olney, Nightingale, there's a reason that this was the number one story in baseball on Saturday and bleeding into Sunday. There's a reason for that.
Pop quiz.
Yes.
Goldie. 3 home runs.
Yes.
Hasn't happened since who and when? Go.
For a Cardinal?
For a Cardinal. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago. And the guy's still on the team. Go.
3 bombs.
3 bombs. 1 game. Go.
Well, I'm thinking.
Took a beating this year.
Wasn't it Arenado?
Oh. Tyler O'Neill?
No.
Took
Good
a
guess, though.
beating.
Took a beating this year, Charlie Marlowe.
From who?
From us and everybody in the city.
It's not Kisner.
Seems like 3 is the magic number today.
Come on.
I would have
It's
said
what? Who?
Pujols
Say
in
something.
the World Series.
Hold on.
No, he's on the team
said
now.
still on the
I know.
He's on the team
I know.
now.
That would have been my guess until you said that.
Are we counting giving
Had
up 3
tough
bombs?
years. Had a couple tough years.
Couple tough years.
Boom.
Whoa.
Really?
Boom. All y'all sit down.
Who'd you say?
Set the boys
De
chiming
Jong.
in.
I was there.
Ollie De Jong,
I went to
2019.
First career home run was in Colorado. I was there.
See, you should be doing trivia. I should be hosting trivia. I don't get.
I would have gotten
anything
it
right.
wrong though.
You said Paul DeYoung.
Yeah.
You said
then when you
Pujols.
said he
I would've
was on the
liked you
team.
had that.
You get the trivia right. when
You might be
just do
better than
layups.
Charlie. Might be better than Charlie at trivia. I don't know. Charlie was confused on that one. Did I word that
I forgot
right?
he was on the team.
He's on the team. Hey, guys. Instead of embarrassing an 8-year veteran catcher, if you're not happy with how he's calling again, can you just have the pitching coach call the game?
Or the pitcher?
Or the pitcher?
By the way, the pitcher's allowed to shake.
I know.
Not at the stall either.
That's true.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I saw that yesterday Contreras was sitting on the bench right next to Ollie and Dusty Blake throughout the game. So he was, they were
That must have been fun.
taking some sort of note. Yeah, he was in the.
Hey, here, Willie. Hey, Willie, little Willie. Come over here.
Oh.
We're going to teach you how to catch.
Come sit
hey,
next to Ollie.
Hey,
Yeah.
what are you,
Come
12?
here.
Oh, wait, you're 30 and you've been in the big leagues 8 years? Oh, you've won a World Series? Here, we're going to teach you
Come here,
the
$87
Cardinal
million.
way of catching. Hey, I'm going to pat your head. Let me pat your head and teach you how to catch.
You want some gum?
Oh, you're
think-
8 years in?
You want some sunflower seeds, little boy?
I think this is the
Hey,
Cubs.
you want some Cracker Jacks?
This
Embarrassing.
is
Big
the
League
Cubs'
Chew?
revenge.
Embarrassing.
Willie,
Where's Willie? Little Willie, come here. Good God. Like what?
This is basically
Like
just
what the hell's going on here?
This is the whole. Did anybody in here watch The Americans, the TV show? Gary Russell.
Unfortunately, no.
The cartoon?
I like her, though.
American Dad?
No, the Americans.
Oh.
When they were the Russian,
Yes.
the Russian splinter
Yes.
cell agents over here.
Yes,
Wilson
I did.
Contreras is a Cubs splinter cell agent sent to drag the Cardinals down.
I did see that. That was pretty dang good for a bit.
It was a great show.
I don't know what happened to it, though.
But here's the deal. Are you
Well, it
really
ended.
telling me? Are you telling me that
Everybody
the
died.
Cardinals, for 95 games watching Willson Contreras in their division for the last 7 years, didn't see any of this? They were shocked by this?
No, because
100 games.
Yachty made all the decisions for us as a
doesn't
catcher,
matter.
and we didn't have to evaluate the catching position
Being
at all
sarcastic.
No.
because we didn't have to think about it.
You still watch the other team.
But we don't have to do that.
No,
though,
they
Charlie.
got Yachty.
No, that's their
Because
job.
Charlie. They got Yachty.
because
That's their
Yachty's here.
job.
Come on.
Their job is to evaluate other teams also for trades.
Yachty's never retiring.
Maybe Yachty should come back.
I know.
I mean, at this point,
They never thought he was going to retire. That's why.
They'll put that Yachty tumbler behind the plate and have that catch.
He was giving you all the clues, leaving, going to Puerto Rico. He's like, yeah, I'm going to retire.
But think about that. But think about that.
Like, I'm done.
The Cardinals basically, essentially, begged him to come back. Seemed like he didn't even want to.
I know.
Wasn't in shape, by the way, probably because he was done.
He
He's
was
like, hey,
done.
I'm retired.
I know.
But Albert's back. Now I'll come back. It shows you why, though. They didn't have confidence in Kiz, and now Kiz is the starting catcher.
Hitting doubles, baby.
So now we got a starter, baby.
Yeah,
we got a starter.
Whoever was chirping last week.
How about
How do
that?
you like me now?
How about Dem Apples?
Out my way. He's a creep. Toby Keith. Don't do that. All y'all out there.
Isn't he sick?
Oh, yeah.
He is?
Okay, he used to be a creep. We like him now.
I think he has
Something
a
bad.
tough illness.
I think he's got like
he's dealing with.
intestinal something of something. But, just don't take a girl's number and put it on the 50-yard line. She's not going to like you. She's not going to like you. Like maybe when you're in like elementary school or in high
will
school.
you go to prom?
You're a weirdo. And then you're like underneath you're underneath the
All for a good
bleachers with the girls and you're like looking at them up like, come on.
You're talking about Mickey
Weirdo.
Mantle? Mickey Mantle?
Weird,
Or-
yeah. No, like he's hiding. If you watch the music video, Toby Keith's hiding underneath. The girls are all sitting there like a creepo. God,
well.
no one noticed that? Anyway, I feel like I'm hearing the same thing from a majority of fans in regard to Sean Murphy, Wilson, Ollie, and others. Does BD and Mo think the same? Or are they so arrogant that DMTCF... Man, a lot of the Cardinals are lost. Like I said, and others in 2019, we made it too far, overachieved, and the organization thought they were on a good path. Been downhill since in terms of postseason, and barely made the postseason in 2 other seasons. Only clearly making it last year to the playoffs. Thank you for letting me vent. The Mad Marine. What's up, baby?
How do you like them apples?
And I think it further points out, because the Cardinals have had early round exits, 20, 21, 22, and you were in arguably the worst division, one of the worst in baseball the last couple years, and you beat up on the Pirates when they were bad. Now they're okay. You beat up on the Reds.
Congrats, Cole.
You were only, 45
Yeah.
and 41 versus
You beat up on some
other
bad teams.
So you weren't that good. Your record was inflated by your division. And now you actually are bad.
Yep. I think Kiz is a better catcher. If that's the issue, Contreras can catch, but not like Kiz. Callistic. I like the positive. Hey, man, a lot of little things Kiz does. And you know what? Give Jimmy credit, man, because he's been saying it. I know, you guys are hard on him, and he does. he toes the company line. We get all that. He's got to do what he's got to do. But he's been pretty right about the Kiss thing. Internal stuff. They like him.
Keep me locked in.
Well,
they like him.
You're welcome.
I don't think you can really say that because they don't like him. They didn't like him enough to say you're our starting catcher.
I meant players.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think right now he's their best option.
Yeah.
Because look at the catching position.
So the girl you want to go out with is with another guy.
Oh.
So you're hanging
Yes.
out with this one.
God, who?
And also Herrera
Gritty?
also has not arrived to the point they thought he might in the last couple of years. You don't have a catcher of the future either.
No, you don't.
thought
Marmol and
Contreras
Mo.
was.
But you know what's most important? We've got a catcher of the past, and he made all the decisions for us,
Yeah.
and we didn't have to think about this
He's
at
in
all.
Puerto Rico.
Oh, wait, catcher of the past? I thought you meant Willson Contreras.
Yeah.
No, well, we've got a
That
couple.
also might be the case, unfortunately.
You've got a couple.
Marmol and Mo should be gone. Marmol doesn't have a feel on how he uses his pitchers. In the last week, he took Montgomery and Matz out early and left Wainwright in too long.
So in some ways, Willson Contreras is the William Henry Harrison of Cardinal catchers, who died 31 days after he got inaugurated because he got pneumonia from not wearing a coat walking in his own victory parade.
Dummy.
Is that how you get pneumonia?
No,
Back in the day?
back then.
You're going to go outside. If it's cold, you're going to catch a cold. I think that's debunked, just so everybody knows.
He gave a speech in the rain.
I think that's debunked.
It's a
You're gonna-
substantial
You know, your
hole.
mom's like, don't go outside. You're going to catch a cold.
How do you get it then?
Well, then what killed this
Bacteria?
guy? What killed this guy, Cam? Was it playing
don't
catcher?
know.
Was it playing catcher for the Cardinals?
I don't know. Pop quiz.
Uh-oh.
I
Here
got
we
a
go.
couple of these
Paul
bad
Young.
boys.
It was pneumonia.
No.
I know things.
Who's the oldest guy in the MLB going right now? Go.
Nelson Cruz.
No.
That's what I was going to say.
No.
It's Rich Hill.
Boom, Matty. Matty's on his
good
game
job.
too. How old?
43, I
Yep.
think. Yeah.
Matty's
Call
on his
him
game too.
Dick Mountain.
You two aren't. You two are.
I should have gotten that of all people.
Rich
What
Hill.
brought Rich Hill into this?
I don't know.
Into the chat.
Because I read things that pops in my head.
I know that Rich Hill was pitching when I was in high school.
Yeah, he's 43.
He was on the Cardinals for a minute. Remember, he got an invite?
Hot second.
He got an invite to spring, I believe.
Morning, boys. Just want to know if Waino blocked John Denton yet. Happy Monday, Sharon.
Oh, I got that sound.
Yeah, play that mug right quick.
Yeah, so
Everybody's getting pissy.
yeah,
Get pissy yourself.
Here we go.
Poor Benfred.
Years you were the stopper that kind of stopped streaks. You took pride in being that guy. How much did you want to
Took pride.
How much do you want to help this team get back?
It's not past tense. Thank
How
you.
much do you want to help?
I take a lot of pride in that, and I wanted to do that today. You guys, I'm not retired yet. All right, my stuff is still good. I heard what you said. I'm very confident I'm gonna go out and pitch a lot of good games this year. Okay.
These guys are babies, dude. Calm down.
Oh, you didn't ask the question perfectly.
Calm down.
I
Being
love
a
Waino.
baby.
And you know what? Waino
Being a
also, he
baby.
likes to chirp back and forth. But if you add Waino, Flaherty, and Ollie,
Oh, God.
there is a lot of chirping at the media. Hey, Cardinals, all due respect, you suck.
You suck.
Not the local media.
Thank
the local
you.
media is doing their jobs when they get credentials, by the way. The local media are asking fair and legitimate questions. You're the ones that suck.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at the media.
Sorry about that.
Ollie and Jack Flaherty and Waino, we love you. By the way, with Waino, part of Waino is like he has a rapport with the media that he'll chirp back and forth. But John
so
Denton
goofy.
didn't ask that.
I know.
Throwing you under the bus.
Calm
This is
down.
by the way, this is your first start of the year. So it is past tense because you hadn't pitched yet this year.
There you go.
Yeah, he wasn't saying past tense because Waino no longer takes pride in performing. He's saying past tense because Waino is no longer the slump buster.
Well, Kiz is clearly the slump buster for the Cardinals now.
Slump buster.
3-game
Sometimes you got to do it.
history.
Sometimes you got to do it. Sometimes you just got to do it.
You know any guys, any teammates who had slump busters help them out?
No, I've never seen that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Huh?
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
I've been a slump buster.
I know. I'm a slump buster.
Hey, we all have. There's nothing wrong with that.